Good evening to all. On behalf of Swadeshi Science Movement, let me extend a warm welcome to all of you who are attending the latest version of Cybersecurity Talks. As you are aware, Swadeshi Science Movement is implementing a Department of Science and Technology, Government of India funded project on cybersecurity for child safety. Under this, a series of lectures are being organized for the benefit of children, parents, and teachers. Today, we have with us Sri Benoy Kadavan, Advocate, High Court of Kerala, who will be delivering a talk on dangers of copyright violation. Advocate Benoy is a trademark attorney located at Kadavan Legal Office, Kochi, and in fact, he is a BCom from Bharat Mata College in 1996, and then he was a third rank holder for LLB from Kochi University of Science and Technology in 2000. Then later he secured a scholarship awarded by Ministry of Human Resources, Government of India for the LLM course, and he was a first rank holder for LLM from USI Kochi in 2002. His specialization was intellectual property rights and human rights. Currently, Advocate Benoy is partner of Kadavan Legal Offices, a law firm specialized in IP law, media and technology law. He is also associated with Ministry of Commerce, Government of India in connection with a study on test data protection in India in compliance of TRIPS agreement. Other honors and achievements by Advocate Benoy includes, and he is a resource person on copyright law for a training program organized by Kerala Judicial Academy for the district judges in Kerala. And he was nominated to the advisory panel on IPR of Kerala State Council for Science and Environment, Government of Kerala. And he is also nominated to the advisory panel on IPR of Kerala State Council, as I told you. Then he is an executive member of Indian Council of Arbitration, Kerala chapter, and also functions as an executive member of Kerala High Court Association, Advocates Association. I welcome Advocate Benoy to this evening function to deliver his lecture on dangers of copyright violation. Advocate Benoy.
Respected organizers of this seminar and Swadeshi Science Movement, I really appreciate Swadeshi Science Movement for taking such an initiative in conducting a series of workshops in relation to cybersecurity. Particularly, we all know that that is the most important subject to be discussed and taken care, particularly when we are children are always in the online. They are in the online classes, they are online games. We easily came to know that some of the, 2-3 students have even committed suicide for not able to cope up with the pressure of online games. So I really appreciate that the initiative of the Swadeshi Science Movement, a very big step taken in this regard. My topic actually in regard to, I'm talking about copyright actually. So copyright is more or less, slightly departing from this topic because we are here to educate you in connection with what are the rights a copyright holder has and what are the dangers what are the steps you should take to protect yourself when your right is being affected or violated. And at the same time, when you are in the online platform, how do you ensure that it is a copyrighted material? What are the normal pirated forms in the copyright angle in the online platforms? How ours can we protect ourselves from such kind of copyright piracy issues? So I think the English is okay for everyone, or do I need to add Malayalam onto in between? Naveen? Okay, so I think we are on a topic of copyright actually. So when you talk about copyright, just imagine about, let us see who is J.K. Rowling actually. J.K. Rowling, as we all know, that she's a wonderful author and she wrote many novels. At one point of time, J.K. Rowling was the richest woman in the world. How did she become rich? Did she start any business? Did she have any kind of manufacturing activity? No. But what she did was she wrote a bunch of novels. Fortunately, it came to be well received among the audience, and at the same time towards a global audience, not only an English speaking language community, but also in other languages. It was made into movies, it was translated to different languages. So, all these things, she got a reward for her transfer of rights actually. So, that is, I just want to explain how does what you mean by a copyright. So, copyright is a bundle of rights given to an author of a literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic works and cinematograph films. So, what you are trying to understand is that when a person, for I assume that all majority of the audience are students and teachers, so you should have a clear understanding about what you mean by copyright exactly. Because nowadays we can see that even a 3-year-old boy or a small children are becoming authors. They are writing novels, they are writing stories, their pictures as being drawings. So in different type of creativity, they are all involved. So how do you protect all these creative elements? That is the most important aspect. So in this regard, let us see that one person. Imagine that the basic concept of copyright is that, as we all know that theft is an illegal activity. You cannot take other person's property without his permission, legally speaking. Whenever we are studying in the schools, we might have taken, and in, I mean, a small example is taking other person's rubber, pencil without his consent. All when that is small thing. When you grow up, the other things of things, but I mean, taking away others' person property of gold or other things without any person's any property without his permission is a theft. We don't have any kind of confusion regarding that. In the same manner, copyright is also a property. So when you write a story or when you draw a picture, when you make a sculpture, without your permission, any person uses that work for any other purpose, that becomes a copyright violation. So most important aspect is that you should know about copyright. You should know how do we protect ourselves from copyright violations. Then only actually we have to see careful about how can we protect ourselves from dangers of copyright infringement in the online platform. So copyright is primarily vested with the author. That is the most important aspect. Who is an author? Author is a person who creates that particular work. So it can be a literary work. Literary work means a story or a drama or anything, an article or anything can be included as a literary work. Anything written can be brought as a literary work. Then we have a dramatic work. Dramatic work means any type of literary work which is produced in a dramatic form is called a dramatic work. Then we have a musical work. Yes, we have musical compositions, notations of musical compositions. All are treated as a musical work. Cinematograph films, cinema films, as we all know that. Artistic works, paintings, sculptures, drawings, all are brought under the framework of artistic works. So what is important is that these are the works and who creates that, they are treated as an author. So if I write a story, I am the author of that work. Imagine in a school that you have written an article for giving publishing in the school journal and you have prepared, finalized. Then you come to know that without your permission, your friend or a person sitting nearby you took the article and given the public for publication in the school journal. And in the school journal, the article is published as a work of your friend. What will be your what will be your further reactions? That is a one way of theft, taking all your intellectual labor. You're putting a lot of effort when you write an article, when you write or when you prepare a project. All school people know how much pain you are taking. Compilation of data, seriously looking into analysis of data, assimilating this data, reproducing in your own language, and again editing that and converting into a beautiful article. So such amount of intellectual labor is coming into that. After putting all this intellectual labor, a person without your permission is simply taking that credit or simply duplicate or copying that work in other journals without your permission. That is a very deprecable act that need to be stopped by law. That is the purpose of copyright. So we need to understand that author is a person who creates something. He's maybe an author of literary work, a drama, short story, something like that. A picture, an artist who draws a picture, something, making a sculpture, all becomes an artist. So law, what it mandates is the law provides certain rights to these people. So if I'm writing the example of J.K. Rowling, she wrote certain novels. So what are the rights? One of the most important right is the right to reproduction. That a particular work cannot be reproduced without her permission. So that is why if you are an author, we come across a lot of books in the bookshelf and all these things. So can I say, for example, if J.K. Rowling's book, you are seeing in the book, you are purchasing one from the bookshop. You say that, okay, you feel that the price is high. So I take a photostat copy at a very cheap rate and I sell it at a very cheap price. For example, if the original of the price is around 800 rupees, I sell it at a price of 350 rupees. That is a violation of law and that is a copyright infringement. So that is not possible. That is an illegal action. That is a basic simple saying of that. So that is an illegal action when I photocopy it or when I reproduce it in a different language and share it with others, making it available to others. That is a copyright violation. So that is not possible. That is illegal and that is a punishable offense under the Copyright Act. So what I was trying to say that imagine from your side, you all are, I'm not saying that you are all legal violators. Rather than I need to see that you are all legally abiding citizens. And how can your right in your creed, nowadays people are become more creative. So how can your creative elements can be protected? So imagine all things from I am an author or you are an author. What are the rights vested with you? When you study like that, you draw a picture. So you are an author of that drawing. So you make a painting. So without your permission, anybody reproduces that work in any manner. That is a copyright violation. So, and photographs, normally these kind of violations, I'm talking about online media. I mean, imagine that you are painted a picture or you took a photograph of a beautiful scenery and you are publishing it on the Facebook or Instagram, such an online media. And later you come to know that, or you see that that picture has been used or taken a printed, or as in a, for example, in another case of a commercially used scenario where in which it has been used, or a person is taking a print at and framing it and selling it at a large price without your permission. That is a copyright violation. So you're right. When you take a photostat or when you make a painting, when you take a photograph, it is absolutely your right to make a duplicate a copy of it or to reproduce it, to distribute it, to communicate in any manner. So when without your permission, one person takes or abuses that right, that is a copyright violation. That need to be punished. That's a punishable serious offense. That's a non-bailable offense also. So please try to understand that is your right. And when you come to other rights, for example, when you come to the cinematograph films, sound recordings, all these things, or we can talk about a performer's right. For example, I am delivering a lecture through this platform. Without my permission, nobody can record this lecture or share it in any other group without my permission. If it is done so, that is an illegal action and liable to be punished. So, what I was trying to say that that particular type of property, we imagine there are a lot of movies are being coming out. A movie is based on a script. There is director involved, producer involved. So when a script is being written and the script is being transformed into a movie, there are a lot of rights of people are involved. Actors are involved, musical composers are involved, the directors are involved, the script writers involved. So these people have got a right on that. So without their permission, the producer, as per Indian Copyright Act is concerned, producer is the copyright owner of a film. So without that permission, anybody distributes or make it available to the public, that becomes a copyright violation. That's a very serious thing because we take it very lightly. It is very shocking to see that when a particular movie is being just released on the theater or nowadays in the basic OTT platforms, next day the pirated copy is seen in the other Telegram, such kind of websites. That is absolutely wrong and absolutely illegal. All children should know that that is not a legal action. It is like stealing a thing from other person's property. Don't take it lightly because that is an abuse of what you say that if you have a morality, if you have a value system, if you are an law-abiding citizen, a law-abiding citizen will not watch a pirated movie at all because these are a pirated movie. The Telegram is do not have any authorization to telecast or to share this pirated version of the movie in their website or in their profile so that others can easily download and see that. That's an absolutely illegal. You imagine from the because we are working along with the different legal issues in respect of film community, and imagine how much intellectual labor or pain they have undertaking. A person coming with a script, discussing with so many people. Sometimes they may not click, sometimes may click. After that, it reach a different fund he has to raise. Then they make it a movie. After all taking these difficult situations, a movie is being released finally. And imagine without any responsible action, simply as if how does I don't understand how does the people differentiate between a downloading an illegal pirated movie and a stealing whatever things, even more than stealing a thing from other person's property. There is no difference. In my perspective, a stealing is something comparatively lesser than the copyright piracy. Why? Because stealing can be the amount can be paid that is done. Here, what can you repay? How can you compensate his loss? You cannot never compensate his loss because when you download an illegal pirated version and share it with others, the other person's pain and complete intellectual labor is being devastated. I say that such people do not have any kind of morality, and as far as Indian law is concerned, their punishment is very low, but it's strong. Nowadays, it is becoming more strong, and recent Cinematograph Film Act is going to be more stronger in perspective of punishing the film piracy. So that is a very important anchor. Actually, you need to, in case if you want to understand that, you have to think from the perspective of a person who is making a film or acting or directing or scripting. So that is a creative work. Imagine from a perspective, as I said, when you just do that, when you are writing an article, and imagine that somebody just copies from your article without your permission, or somebody just takes the credit, all credits of your work without your permission. That is absolutely illegal and absolutely unethical also. In the same manner, In the online platform also, whatever things is not all copyrighted materials. So you have to be very cautious with regard to that. So what I was trying to say that these are the rights vested with the author. We have a right to reproduction. We have a right to distribution. That is why I said, without a person's permission, you are duplicating that copy and selling it. And a right to make a cinematical film based on that. Right of translation. If I have written a novel in English, you can translate into different languages only with my permission. If you are translating it without my permission, that will surely become an illegal action. So that is very important. In the same manner, whatever you do with regard to adaptation, taking a person's work and making changes with regard to that, that is also without any person's permission, that is a copyright violation. So I see that if you are an author or if you are a creative one, these are the rights vested with you. What I want you to know that if your children, please be aware of these rights and please share with your parents who all or may be creative and who are might have wrote some articles or some make it a creative elements. All you need to be protected for that. Okay, so these are the rights available to an author. So these rights need to be protected. Then the question comes with regard to that, when it becomes, can I do everything? For example, can I take a photostat copy for my academic purpose? Will it become a copyright violation? For that purpose, we have a copyright act, we have a scenario called fair use. Because the purpose of copyright is not to give a very undue monopoly to the copyright owner, but at the same time, you give a balanced approach, wherein which you say that we want to have more and more creativity in the society. At the same time, we need to give due regard to the authors. So, in order to balance that, we allow people to copy in such a manner for the academic and cultural activities. What I mean by that is that, for example, in an academic discussion, if in an academic discussion, what you should do is that if you are studying, anyway, we're studying in colleges and all these things, you take photostat copy for your academic purpose only. What I meant is specifically, please try to understand, you are not making photostat copies and distributing. You are just taking copies for your private use only. That is a fair use, which is available with the copyright. So that is very important because that facilitates more and more academic purposes use of this thing. And for other purposes, for example, criticism and review. When you're an academic purpose, if I copy certain parts of the, the literary work, and for writing an academic literary work criticism or review, I can copy to a certain extent. That is permissible. And other purposes, for example, in a school or in a college campus, when you have annual vacation, annual programs, annual day programs, other celebrations, we used to play musics. When we want to reproduce another person's music, we are bound to pay for that. But taking into consideration the cultural and social scenario of our country, our law enables in such situations to use the music without any license or payment of any royalty. So that is very important. So what happened is that in that kind of situations, we are permitted to use these kind of situations, but not for a commercial purpose. Imagine when you go to a hotel, when you enter a hotel, you hear that a music composition is being played in the hotel. The law mandates that at that situation, when the music is played in the hotel authorities are liable to pay royalty to the original creators of that music. If it is not done, it is an illegal action. So that is very, very important. So what I was trying to say that you need to segregate between what are the legal uses of creative works and what are the illegal uses of creative works. You are permitted to use certain works to a certain extent, not for a large extent, but you are bound to obey the law. Absolute copying of books, for example, recently now we have a tendency, we can see that people simply, I used to wonder how does they do that. People simply share the PDF formats of big books even. We advise a lot of publishing houses. We always see that such a sharing of PDF formats of these works are absolutely copyright infringement activity, and you can be easily tracked and punished. We sometimes take impunity measures against such kind of sharing and find out who are the responsible people behind such kind of situations. So that is very important. So don't do such kind of, what I want to say that you have a certain right or a person has certain right. Without a permission, you are encroaching into other person's right. That becomes a copyright infringement. That is, I said, for example, you when you do an online, as I said earlier, as your work is being copied, when other person work is available in online, you are not expected to download and copy and use it for a commercial purpose for your purpose. Don't think that all pictures, drawings, works available in online are all open works. There are certain works and there are certain websites are available for that. Because, for example, the protection of copyright is not for an unlimited period. The protection of copyright is only for author's life plus 60 years. So after the death of the author has a right of 60 more years. After that, the particular works comes into public domain. Anybody can copy. Now there are a lot of websites and lot of depositories which collects these kind of copyright expired works, and anybody can access and download these kind of works. There is no problem with regard to that. But if a copyright subsisting material is available in the website and you are downloading it and you are making copies and distributing it, or you are making it a copy and for a commercial purpose, that is clearly a copyright violation and it is entitled to the punishment. It's a non-bailable offense. So please be cautious when you do a work in online. Any kid, I'm not talking about the articles or the stories or the works, even the pictures, photographs, audio, visuals, any kind of recordings which are available in the online, which is just, you just download it or you have used it for any other commercial purpose. That is a violation of copyright. For example, if you know that if we are all do a lot of materials for YouTube, you create a lot of videos. Sometimes you find a good video, you just log into YouTube. What will happen is that YouTube, if original author of the particular work finds that, he can take action against you. Without your permission, you are not entitled to use his work. YouTube have a copyright redressal forum, wherein which once it is notified, YouTube will remove. That you can itself communicate with them when you use that material in the website. YouTube can initially YouTube will give a notice to you, and if you are not able to give a satisfactory answer with regard to the ownership of your copyright, the particular work uploaded by you will be removed from the YouTube. So what I want to say that don't think that in an online platform everything is free or everything can be accessible to all and everything can be uploaded or everything can be downloaded and used as you wish. It's an absolutely wrong notion. As the Copyright Act or the copyright laws are applicable in the physical form or the physical world, it's applicable in the digital area also. That is very, very important. So unless the copyright expired work, or people say that free software, as we have in world of free software or the free copyright movement, people doesn't say that. Some people wish that the work should not be restricted. I want my work to be seen by all without any limitations. That kind of free world works can be accessible and downloaded. So normally that kind of works can be either there will be specific notification with regard to that. If otherwise, please don't download these kind of pictures, videos, etc. And that will be a violation of copyright and you will be punishable under the Copyright Act. Now the question comes, what are the important criteria of getting a copyright? For example, one is that originality. Originality is that very simple. In order to get a copyright, the copyright should originate from the author and it should not be copied one. What do you mean by that? Because only thing is that you do not have the copyright does not bother about the literary quality of the work. Sometimes it can be a great work like MT was saying that his work, or sometimes can be very, very small works. Sometimes can be very not rubbish. Anything. If it is originally written by an author, that all fetches a copyright. So any kind of material without the permission of the author, if you are using it, that is a violation of copyright and you are entitled to punishment for that. So that is very important. So what is originality is that it should originate from the author and it should not be a copied one. Next question is that can all works originated from the author will get a copyright? That is very important. For example, that's called the new concept called idea expression dichotomy. That is only simple thing, not I'm not going to confuse it. Ideas are not protected, only expressions are protected under copyright. Imagine why I say that. Imagine that you see not a lot of us. I mean, we see a lot of movies. So imagine, can you say any movie which is without the concept of love story? Hardly we can say that the answer is no, because all the movies will have a concept of love story. Anyway, there will be a little bit of romance or relationship between love will be a very so can you get a copyright or love story as a concept? No. So a person adopt the theme and develop into a different expression will get a copyright. So copyright does not protect ideas, themes, plots. That's why sometimes we see a movie, we feel that oh, I've seen the same plot in another movie. So copyright does not protect such kind of similar plots as it is. Because a film will be complete only when it complete with the whole expression also. So that is very important. So what I was trying to say that these are the possible elements which enable us to use that thing actually. Then the question comes, how do we transfer a copyright? For example, if you have a right, unless it's very important, people have a common notion that once it is published in the online or any other platform, the author's copyright is lost. It's absolutely wrong. Unless the author transfers through a written document to other person, the author remains as the author of the copyright. Simply giving for publication or simply giving for it is published in one journal or newspaper will not take away the rights of an author. So please try to understand that. Just have published in a website or published in a paper will not enable you to copy from that particular work or you to duplicate or compile that particular work or incorporate or any kind of use of that particular work. That is absolutely illegal and you can be punished for that. So in order to have a proper transfer, you need to have a proper written document transferring the author's right to another person. Then only the author's right is gone. What are the exceptions is that, for example, if you are working in a newspaper magazine company or a paper, what I simply say that every day it is not possible to enter with an assignment agreement. So when you are in the employment scenario, I'm working in a paper company or a newspaper publishing house. In the course of employment, I'm preparing something that actually the ownership goes to the company as it is. In the same manner, imagine that a photograph taken or a cinematograph film. Imagine that a photograph taken by one person, a photographer. And what will happen? Imagine that you are going to a photograph studio and taking a photo studio of a passport size photo of yours. You want to take copies of it. It is not possible to get every time the permission of the photographer. So for that purpose, the Act provides that you with the payment of consideration, the copyright rests with you. What I was trying to say that these are the circumstances in which the copyright actually automatically transfer to other persons. So now we come to the what are the remedies available, or what are the dangers in copyright infringement actually. So what I was trying to say that in these kind of situations, without any copyright author's permission, any kind of use, particularly I stress, particularly online piracy, online watching of movies, uploading of movies, or any kind of these kind of cinematograph films or any kind of visual media without the permission or without authorization of the owner of copyright is absolutely illegal, and you will be in trouble. Don't think that you are watching the movie in your house and nobody is able to track. There are a lot of mechanism and through which they are able to track. Why they are taking not so much of action is that because there are certain problems with regard to the servers being outside the country. There are certain issues. But finally, these people who are watching the pirated movies through laptops and computers in your home, please know that you are doing an illegal action in your home. So it can be easily be founded and you can be punished for that. Now we have a recently cinema of Operation Java. Imagine that kind of imagine that is even the movie it is portrayed well with regard to different kind of cyber crimes. But one of the important findings they made into with regard to the copyright violation of one of the movies. How does that was lost? Imagine a Prema movie. How does the copy was made and uploaded without his permission? So anything without your permission, unless they have a specific permission only, then only you are bound to use that thing and use for private use, even for watching the movie. Watching the movie, you downloading even for a private use will not fetch you the fair use portions because that is absolutely illegal and being prohibited by the Copyright Act 1957. And so, what I want to say is that any kind of sharing, musical sharing, video sharing, picture sharing, use of any material which is available in the website for your personal or commercial use will be amounting to violation of copyright. So, why I'm stressing is a point is that that is very important. People have a common notion that anything available in the website or available in the digital area is free. That notion is absolutely wrong. And please, you should remove that notion from your mind itself. And don't think that you nobody can track you or nobody can find you out. You are under being tracked. And don't think that it is not a very silly, not a very silly offense. No, it's a non-bailable offense. Imagine police dashing to a house door and arresting among your parents. People will not ask you what the online piracy, nothing. And you are being put in behind the bars for 2, 3 days. What will be your future? So such an offense is absolutely punishable and don't venture into that. Now, why should we wait? If you want to see the movie that we have in Amazon, in OTT platforms, let us watch it together. Or otherwise, wait for let it be released. What is, I don't understand why, what is the pleasure when you do, people take it very lightly, when you steal from other person's property, anything. We always take that we are only stealing even food. Anything, that is a bad thing, unless we ask a permission of other persons. Here, online, everything is okay. That is an absolutely wrong notion. And don't think that you are sitting in a house and nobody is watching. It's as if, normally we say that a cat is drinking the milk. No, all cats are being watched and monitored. You can be easily tracked. What is important is that you're watching the movie, your IP address can be tracked and you can be arrested. Even the server cannot be, because server they can escape, that server is put in other countries. There is international platforms and different difficulty in that. So don't venture into such issues and always adopt a legal means, and we should develop a morality towards that. We are all having Indian culture. We have our own culture of a Swadeshi. We don't look into other people, respect other people's rights. So this is also a very valuable right of a person. We don't have any right to interfere with other person's copyright. So don't venture into such things. And we have criminal remedies and civil remedies. They can move an action against you if you are sharing these things. They can sue for your damages, and the damages is very exemplary, and they can you put you in trouble. Criminal side, without warrant, a police officer can come and arrest you, and the punishment can be 3 years to 7 years. So don't take it lightly. Don't do such kind of blunders. Respect the digital area as it is a physical world, and don't take or copy or share any unauthorized materials available in the website. I think we will have a question answer session so that I can understand what other people want to know much about it.
Thank you, Advocate Benoy, for the wonderful talk. I have a couple of doubts. Can I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, one thing is that our computer programs or software, it comes under Copyright Act.
Yes. As far as Indian law is concerned, we are protecting the computer programs under the Copyright Act because it is a software, literary work, actually, the source code and the object code. We are protecting this as a literary work. The definition of literary work includes computer programs. We are protecting it under a Copyright Act. But one of the main problems of trying to protect copyright and the computer programs under the Copyright Act is that, as I said earlier, Copyright Act protects only expressions, not ideas. So what is the impact is that you are making a computer program in a particular language, for example, Java, and you with a particular function. Other persons can use another language, C++, something else, to make a similar function, but in a different language. So that cannot be protected under copy. So that is why in other countries, like for example in US, a lot of things people are granting patents. So software patents are being granted. Now Indian law is software per se is not patented, but the country's software or used operated process and products are can be patented under the Indian law.
And then you said about the copyright in YouTube. In
Yes.
other social media platforms like WhatsApp and Facebook, we share a
Yes.
lot of videos, etc. Is it an infringement of Copyright Act? WhatsApp and
Yes,
Facebook?
it's all illegal actions because what I mean to say that, for example, but primarily what I mean that if you are, for example, that's why I said the example. When we are one of our client is a publishing house, and we came across one of the issues with regard to the people simply share PDF formats of the books in the Facebook as well as the WhatsApp actually. So we, after investigation, we came to know that one of the Facebook profiles was created by one person who, I mean, uploads these kind of all the PDF formats of the books on which copyright primarily was purchased by our client. So without the our client's permission, he is being uploading these PDF formats books in his Facebook profile, and people are downloaded and able to watch. And in the same manner, these PDF profiles are being shared in the WhatsApp platform. That is absolutely illegal, and we take an illegal action, and he has been arrested. And now the criminal action is pending against him.
Then recently I came across some books, reprints of Mahatma Gandhi's books,
Yes,
published by many other publishers. So
exactly.
that means copyright has an expiry date also.
Exactly. That is why I said copyright is not an unlimited period. Copyright period is author's life plus 60 years.
That means
So
Mahatma Gandhi's books anybody can reprint.
anybody can reproduce. Mahatma Gandhi, after the death of Mahatma Gandhi, after
Right.
60 years, it becomes a public
Yeah.
domain. So anybody can reproduce.
Then
It's not. Yes,
yeah.
it's what I was trying to say.
Then
It's applicable to all the authors. For example, we have Changambula, Krishna Pilla, I mean, they are all in expire recently. Copyright expired. So normally, lot of publishers coming into I mean, they can available in the public domain. You can produce in the online platform. There's no problem prohibition for that.
Okay, okay. And sometime back, I read somewhere in its film magazine about a story
Yes.
of the Manichitra Third. Probably you may be knowing about it.
Yeah, I
The
know about
script,
it.
yeah, the scriptwriter, Mr. Mani Muttam, he could get only a nominally something like 40,000 rupees or so.
Exactly,
Whereas in
exactly.
different languages, the film was remade, and then he minted money like anything. How he
Yeah.
could have
Yeah, what
get
happened
the
is that is a very good question in this regard. So what happened is that at that time, what happened is that when you, that's why I said that what are the terms and conditions of copyright transfer is very important. Okay, for example, imagine that even like when you compare with another, or if I am purchasing a 5 cents of land, imagine I'm staying in Kakinad, and imagine that years before, I mean, the value of property at Kakinad was very less. Imagine that I purchased at a, my father was staying here, so we didn't purchase with that with an exorbitant amount as nowadays purchased by the people today. So, but the cost has increased. But after the agreement has come into purchase, we purchased the property. I paid the whole amount. After that, the cost has increased much. The seller cannot demand more money from me. I'm just examining it. So in the same manner, what happened is that the Madhumuttam, what happened is that the whole right was purchased by the producer. Okay. And that agreement was finalized. So he cannot take any further action. He has transferred the complete rights. That is very, very important when you have these kind of assignment agreements. You should have a clear understanding. What happened is that earlier, the people who are experienced or expertise in the subject were very low. So normally they don't understand that copyright is a bundle of rights. It's not a one right alone. It's a right of reproduction, right of distribution, right of translation, different languages. All these rights are included. So when you purchase, whole copyright is being transferred to one person. Whole right is being vested for a very small amount. That is the problem which happened with Madhumutta. He sold the whole right without looking into other angles. What are the possibilities or converting into different languages? All right were vested with the producer. So the producer gets the benefit of that also. But now not with that purpose. For example, now we have a provision burden which mandates that, for example, if in other works, for example, not showing the theaters, if other works are, used by the producer, they have to share. For example, imagine that we are a composer of a music, and you are enabled that composer of a music to use in one of these movies. And after that, if the producer, what if the producer is using it as a ringtone in connection with different telecom companies, he has to share the royalty with the composer or the music script and literal lyricist also. That is a change brought in by the 2012 amendment. But Madhumuttam's case happened before that, so he was actually helpless. And particularly the drafting, that is why I said that when you, what are the rights you are transferring, what is the period, what is the territory, all these things should be specified and very clearly said in the agreement. Otherwise, you can be put into such kind of troubles.
then one more question. Is this copyright infringement a criminal offense? Are we liable to be put
Yes,
behind bars?
yes, exactly. That's why I said it is a
Criminal offense.
criminal offense. It is a section 63 of the Copyright Act specifically provides it's a criminal offense, and it is a cognizable offense wherein which you can be arrested without a warrant.
Oh,
So any person just walk in and can be arrested. So it's a warrant and it is punishable up to 3 years and even the non-payable offense also.
right, right. Now, this is something personal. I do have a science journal. So
Okay.
quite often I get some articles. It's a translation from by some other author. And
Okay.
I know that the article is a translation and
Okay.
it's punishable under this copyright law. Is it
Yes.
so? In that
Yes.
case, I am also likely to be punishable or the author of the article because
You
I
are a
publish it.
you are a secondary infringer.
No, but
You are
how I can no,
punishable.
but how I can get it ascertained that it is a copyrighted version because it's a translation
Normally,
from some other article.
yeah, exactly. Normally, what we do is that, for example, if you are publishing such a work from other people or a try, you have a doubt about that. Normally, we
Okay.
take, in this kind of we advise all the publishing houses to have a indemnity clause, or they should represent, they should warrant that this is their original work, and they are having the right to give it for publication. Or if it is a translation, they have got a right to translate, and this work is being. If otherwise so, then we are safe. We are indemnified against any illegal action committed by the other person. Otherwise, the law will always comes after and catch you because you are also an infringer. Law is
No,
not
but
a legal.
that's right.
Ignorance
But
is not an excuse.
no, but that comes for the research articles and all, books and all. Like just
Okay.
like the popular articles, how we can keep a rule like that. I don't know, because
You know,
popular
whatever
articles.
whatever articles you are without the permission, for example, you are writing an article, a
Okay.
popular article, whatever it may be, without your permission, you cannot translate that work.
No, but I am
Another
not
person,
translating. I am not
you are not,
translating.
yeah, you are not translating, but you are publishing that work, a translated work, which is an illegal action. So you
Right.
are also part of that illegal action. You are a secondary. You may think from other angle. For example, you are translating knowing that it is a For example,
Yes.
imagine that there are a lot of even we advise publishing houses like DC Books and all. So nowadays,
Yes.
more translated works are being sold in large number than the original works.
Right.
Okay, so there are a lot of translated, for example, from Latin American writers, they are all translating into English, Malayalam, and publishing it. So what is it that unless how can they escape from saying that I was not knowing that this is an original trans? They cannot.
Okay.
So when you are doing a translation or publishing in or you are not knowing that there is a so what that is I said in order to safeguard your interest, you should get an undertaking from the translator that it is a legally copyrighted material and they have a right to translate.
I think now we can wind up the program. Anyway, the information given to us, it's a new to us for many of us, this Copyright Act and all. And I think it will be beneficial for many of us. And we do hope that you'll get associated with us, Swadeshi Science Movement, in the future also. So on behalf of Swadeshi Science Movement, I place on record our sincere gratitude. Thank you. Thank you, Advocate
Thank you
Benoy.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Naveen, we can wind up the show.